Hello and welcome to our demonstration of the Estate Docs Pro software. My name is Dr. John Workman, and I would like to thank you for taking this time out of your busy schedule to take a look at Estate Docs Pro. We know for a fact that today 56% of Americans do not have any estate planning documents in place. Secondly, only 23% of American adults over the age of 50 have a trust. That means 77% of American adults over the age of 50 don't. Money Magazine, issued January 2012, states, if you have assets, which could be just a car and some nice furniture or minor children, you still need an estate plan, even if taxes are not an issue. So why don't more people have an estate plan? Well, for starters, many consider it to be an intimidating process. Many people are concerned about the cost of an attorney to produce an estate plan. For a lot of people, it is considered to be an uncomfortable topic. And last but not least, developing an estate plan is considered by many to be too complicated a process. As a financial service professional, be it an attorney, insurance agent, accountant, CPA, or general financial service provider, it is our hope that this demonstration will prove to you how easy it is to produce and complete an estate plan through the Estate Docs Pro system. This would be a fantastic service to provide to your clients and an incredible income producer for your business. With Estate Docs Pro, our online platform walks you or your clients through the entire process, complete with online videos and printed guides. It even produces an online funding kit. Also, at the end of this demonstration, you will be given the opportunity to try out Estate Docs Pro software for yourself. We're going to give you a 30-day free trial with absolutely no cost or obligation for using the system. This is our way of proving to you how simple and effective the Estate Docs Pro system is. So, without further ado, we will begin our demonstration with our CEO, Mr. Frank Divers.
And the demo is exactly the same experience that the client is going to go through once they have purchased their estate plan. This is when they come to the site, they log in using their username and password. This is the process. This is the client interface. It all begins with the interview. So now we've tried to make the user interface as comparable to the same experience that the person would have if they went to their attorney. We start with a legal pad, preparing your trust. This is the information that you're going to need: names, contact information for beneficiaries, children, trustee, agents. It takes about an hour to complete the interview once you've got all the information handy. If for whatever reason you don't have all the information handy, you can stop at any point in time, and all the information that you've entered into the interview up to that point will be saved for you, so you can come back and you can pick it up at a later time. So we're going to follow the yellow brick road where it says start here. And everything is pretty straightforward. At no point in time during this process does anyone write any language. All we're doing is filling in the blank and answering questions yes or no. Otherwise, all the language of the estate plan is already written into the database. So how I answer a question is going to pull from the database the appropriate language. So for instance, here we've got the state of Nebraska. So if I'm going to make this the state of Florida, for instance, now any nuances in laws in the state of Florida that may be different than in the other state, the software is going to pull that language from the database and populate that language into the documents that will come up at the very end of this process. So how I'm answering my questions is going to determine the language that's going to be taken from the database. This bodes to the question, is this a template? So the answer to that is yes and no. It's a template in that the information that needs to go into all the estate plan, whether it's the trust or the durable powers of attorney over healthcare or finance or whatever, all of those documents are templates based on the language appropriate for the state that someone's living in. However, how the information is incorporated into the final documents is not a template. It's taken from the database. It's what we call decision tree programming. So as a person is answering questions or putting in information into the blanks, then that's going to govern the language that's going to actually end up in the final documents themselves. So it enables us to not just have a template trust, for instance. It enables us to be able to provide a very comprehensive trust back to the client based on how they answered the question. So anytime someone asks the question, is this a template? The answer is yes to a certain degree, but no, in that all the information is going to be respectful to how the questions are answered. So once you complete the first page here, I could hit save and continue, and then we would continue down the tabs. And just as we go down through the tabs, again, we just fill in the blanks. And if we have any question as to what something may mean, you can see these little blue clouds with the question marks in it. We would just click on that and it would tell us what a standard trust is. Again, this is another reason why it's so important for a licensee to spend some time going through this process, because you will find after you go through it a few times that all this information that may be in the form of a question as you're working with a client will come second nature to you. So you wouldn't even have to click on the cloud to get the answer. You'd be able to give your client the answer. Which, by the way, that sometimes brings up the question, does that mean that I'm practicing law? And the answer is no. All you're doing is providing education. You're providing information. For that matter, we could go into Google and Google these questions and we could get all the answers right there. So we're not practicing law when we're educating. And again, you can get a very high level of confidence as a licensee by simply investing a little bit of time in your back office to go through our frequently asked questions, as well as going through the demo, as well as viewing all the videos. And you're going to find yourself pretty well informed. And in fact, you will become an expert in the whole process of doing an estate plan by just simply making that a small amount of time investment into understanding what you've got. So again, all we're doing is answering questions here: flexibility versus credit protection and irrevocability, yes or no. If I don't know what that means, I would just click right here and I would get the answer to that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue down the tabs. All we're doing at this point is we're populating the database. We're not really formalizing any documents at this point. We're entering information into the database so that once we're being asked to make decisions later on in this process, that information will be there. So this is where I'm going to add my children. So I would just click Add Child right here and fill in the information, and then I would hit Submit. Close this out. Same thing here, distribution options. This is where, again, we're putting in, this is joint trust for children. It can be minor children or adult children. This is a short video that one of our attorneys has produced for us. It gives a very straightforward explanation as to why it's so important to consider joint trust for the children. If I don't want to go with a joint trust, obviously I don't have to do that. But again, I think that once a person has taken the time to understand the importance of having a joint trust, that they would most likely want to take advantage of that opportunity. So all I'm doing, again, is I'm answering the questions. I'm putting in the ages, and I can make these ages anything that I want. I could go 20, 25, 30, 35, 50, whatever ages those are, I can make that. Again, this may be something in the future that someone would want to change. And if they did, they wouldn't have to go back to the attorney and do it. All they'd have to do is come back in, log into their vault and access the documents, the interview, and be able to make those changes. So I go through this. Now we go down through roles. All we're doing here is explaining to the individual the importance of the roles that they're going to be asked to name people to. Their trustee, successor trustee, healthcare agent, financial agent, guardian, etc. That's what that's all about. Add people and organizations. Again, all we're doing here is populating the database. These would be people that I'm going to most likely name as beneficiaries, or I'm going to be naming these individuals to be powers of attorney, whether it be over my finance or healthcare or whatever the case may be. But again, this is all I'm doing now is building the database by adding these people, organizations, and children into this process. Beneficiary selection. So this is where I'm naming my beneficiaries. So I've got one named here. If I needed to add other beneficiaries, I would just be able to click here and add those people. Edit, if I needed to edit, I could click here, or I could actually click right on the individual. So we'll just show this quickly, how I've set this up. So do you want to restrict distributions to the beneficiary as an adult? I've elected to say no, but if I did want to restrict it, I could click yes here. Save and continue. Again, this is just keeping all the information current. And again, as life situations may need to be make a change in the document, I'd be able to do that right here. So if for whatever reason I've got multiple beneficiaries and I've not totaled the asset distribution to 100%, the system is going to let me know that, so that I could then go back in and make the appropriate correction. It's kind of a self-managing process that's built into our software to be able to make sure that you're doing everything properly. Disinherit. If for whatever reason someone is estranged from a child and they want to disinherit that child, this is where they would do that. They would name that person here. If the circumstances of their life changed later on and they wanted to make a change there, all they'd have to do is come back into the system and make the change. Trustee selection. This is where I'm actually starting to appoint people for various roles. Trustee selection. So I've got my co-trustees, my alternate successor trustees. So if I want to select someone, I'm going to click here. But if I don't see the person here that I need to name into that, then that means I got to go back up here to add people and organizations and add that person's name in, so that it would then be a part of the database. So that now when I come back here and I would click on it, that person's name would be in the drop-down menu. So again, anytime you don't see the person or organization or business that you would want to name, that just simply means you got to go back up to one of these tabs and make that addition. Trustee selection. So all you're doing here is clicking through these and naming the people that you've already populated into the database. Same thing with the healthcare agent. Same thing with advanced directives. So this is pull the plug or don't pull the plug. It's not just a straightforward question. You're actually able to put some parameters around your decision. So yes, I want them to pull the plug, but I don't want them to take me off of my pain medication or liquid diet that I'm being fed. So I'm not going to be starved to death. Advanced directives, this is if it's a female and there could be pregnancy in question. This is where I'm able to make that decision right here. Organ donation, this is not required. It's just an auxiliary form to our trust, that if someone would like to be an organ donator, they can do so right here. Guardian selection. So very important, if someone has minor children or an adult disabled child, that they name who that guardian would be. Otherwise, that would be up to a probate court to make that decision. Specified bequest. This is from what our attorneys tell us. This is where people really fall out with each other, whether it's family or friends, relatives, whatever the case may be. It's simply because they start fighting over the stuff. So to make sure everything is clear, what we recommend is just to make a laundry list of everything that someone owns. And then once they make that laundry list, we would also recommend that they take pictures or videos, for that matter, of assets, so that something wouldn't be called into question. So let's say that it's an easy bake oven collection. Well, you know, that could take on all different types of easy bake ovens that are out there. So if this is a collection that I want to pass on, I'm most likely going to want to take a picture of it or do a video of it. Today with the mobile phones that people have, you can pretty much do that at ease. So when you take those photographs or you take those videos, then you would upload it, save it to your hard drive of your computer and upload it to the vault. and this way it's there and it's easy for me to determine exactly what someone meant when they said they wanted that Easy Bake Oven collection to go to baby dough, or the coin collection, or silverware, whatever the case may be. If I'm adding bequests, so obviously what I've got here would be other assets that I want to put into this, and then I would name the people or organization that would get that particular asset. It's a very straightforward form. Or I could click here and it would open it up and I could make changes to that particular bequest here. So if I wanted to change the beneficiary from Danny Doe to someone else, I would just click right here and it would open up a box and I would be able to make that appropriate change. If I got rid of that stingray, so it's no longer a part of my estate, then I would just click here, delete it, and I would take it out. Very straightforward. Other options, so this would be any final thoughts. So it could be maybe how I would want my memorial or my funeral to be held, or where I may want to be buried, or if I wanted to be cremated, or whatever the final thoughts might be. It might be a love letter that I want to leave for my family, or whatever, just life's memories. So now I've gone through all the tabs. I've completed the interview. So now we're going to click on review. And we see a full review here. So this is a checklist of everything that I've done. It's letting me know that I've completed each one of these sections. If I had not, this would be a red circle with an X in it. It's letting me know that I don't have any children. So it's like, wait a minute, I do have children. So that means I would have to go back in and I would have to add those children into this. Again, it's just reminded me of things that I've decided on as I went through the interview process. I've completed everything. If I've done a platinum plan, there would be a tab here that I would click then for all of my documents to be submitted to the KKOS lawyers for an online legal review. Once that review is done, then I would get an email back from the law firm so indicating that the interview has been completed. They found everything to be proper and in order. Congratulations on doing my estate plan through Estate Docs Pro. I'm good to go. Or it's letting me know of any changes that I need to make, and it's giving me specific directives as to how to come back into the system and make those changes, at which time I would then be good to go. So we're going to assume everything is good. The documents have been reviewed by KKOS lawyers. So now we're going to click here, and we've actually got our complete estate plan. It's done instantly. You don't have to wait on mail. It's all done through the power of our software. So now we've got all of our tabs here: revocable living trust, certificate of trust, last will and testament, financial power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney. So I'm able to click on any of these tabs and actually review that document. So let's say that we want to do that. So I'm going to click right here and I'm going to open this. I don't want to save it. So as quick as that, we now have complete access to our revocable living trust, as well as the date that we generated it. This particular document was generated on November the 12th, 2015 at 5:23. So all the pages of the document would be so noted. We've got all of our certificate right here. So this is our full table of contents, if you will. So we're able to go down and we can click on any of these, which is where we're going to get our signatures done, or notaries or witnesses. And we even have the little yellow sticky notes, so indicating what to do there. So now we're back into the documents here. If I made a change in something, I would hit generate document. So now, as you can see, it's processing the request. Takes it just a few seconds to do this. Now the document has been generated. It's communicating that back to the database now. So as we can see, everything has changed. The document was generated on Tuesday, December the 1st, 2015 at 11:44 a.m. here in Arizona. So I've always got a paper trail as to the date and the time that all these documents were done. So I'm able to go back in and I'm able to review them. So the same thing applies to each one of these tabs. I'm able to go in, I'm able to download them, I'm able to print them, save them, do whatever I need to do. Funding kit. So this is a really unique feature that we have. Typically in working with a law firm, they will give you information as to how to fund your trust. And typically most people are left to their own to get that trust funded. Occasionally people will pay a law firm or a fiduciary to help them fund their trust. Or in the case of a lot of financial professionals, will work with their client to take them through the process to make sure that all their assets are properly funded into the trust. This is an extremely valuable opportunity to the licensee to be able to work personally with their client to make sure that the transition of the wealth, the assets that someone has accumulated in their estate, are properly allocated in the trust itself. So there's no better way for a licensee to grow and deepen the relationship with their client than to work with them through the funding of the trust itself. And we are the only company that offers a funding kit. This is a proprietary value that we bring to our licensees as they work with their clients through the power of our software platform. So we've got here in the funding kit, we've got two different types of assets. We've got real property, and then we've got all their other stuff. So we're going to click on real estate assets here. We've got a full tutorial on everything that you do in order to fund your real estate into the trust. It's important to note that a lot of people aren't aware that if they own property in multiple states, that they need to have those properties in those different states named into the trust itself, funded into the trust. Otherwise, the property in states that would not be funded into the trust would be subject to probate court in those particular states. So again, it's a real valuable opportunity here to be able to make sure that wherever property is located, that it is funded into the trust. We click on Ledger, and we just fill in the information right here as to the property description, the location, all the information that would be noted for the deed itself. And then you would take the information, you would complete either a quitclaim deed or a warranty deed and record that at the county recorder's office in the area where the property is located. For those people that don't want to go through the process of getting it recorded in that particular county, we do offer a warranty deed service. It's done through our law firm, KKOS Lawyers. They charge a legal fee of $125 plus whatever the filing fees are for the county that the property is located in. This is just as a convenience for our licensees to take advantage of in working with their clients. Most of our licensees utilize a local service and help their clients, since it is such a simple process to complete a quitclaim deed or a warranty deed and get it properly recorded in that county. But again, for those people that just don't want to go through that process and they want to use our national service, they can contact KKOS Lawyers. All the information is right here, and they can get it done through them. So now that's what we do for all of our real property. So now we're going to go back over to our funding kit, and we get into all other assets. So we have a full instructions here on everything that you're going to fund into the trust, which is, you can see through the graphic illustration here, is all your stuff going into the family trust, which we use the symbol of a basket. Guidelines for funding your trust. And then we've got line items for each type of asset allocation. So we start with cash accounts, and we go all the way down through anything and everything that person could possibly own or want to own. They're able to fund it into their trust. So here we've got cash accounts, full description on what all these different types of accounts may be. And then here are the ones that we've actually funded into the trust already. If I closed an account, I would simply delete it here. If I opened another account, I would just simply add the information here. And then for the asset transfer letter, the retitlement letter, we can click here, and that letter is generated for us by way of the forms that our attorneys have done based on the information that I've added into it. So this would be a request for asset retitlement to the Bank of the World, according to the information that I filled in when I completed the questionnaire. Same thing applies for all other types of assets. So here we've got our cash accounts. Then we've got vehicles. liability casualty insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, anything that someone could possibly own or own in the future. You'll be able to find the appropriate tab designation for that particular asset, and then it's just simply a matter of clicking on it. So let's look at stocks, bonds, mutual funds, a full tutorial there on what needs to be funded into the trust, or when something should not be funded into the trust, the appropriate information is given to you. So we've got it all here. Again, we'd be able to generate an irrevocable stock power form here just based on the information that I've added. If I deleted that asset, closed that asset, I would delete it here, or if I'm adding assets, I would add it here. I might point out that anytime we have these asset retitlement letters or irrevocable stock power forms, any of the type of forms that our software will generate for you, on occasion, you'll find that when those forms are submitted to the appropriate institution, that the institution may require you to use their form. At least we have the benefit of our form here, which keeps you on track to let you know that a form does need to be submitted to them, even though they may come back to you and give you their form that they would want you to complete. Business interests, so if you own interest in a business, LLC, partnership, or whatever the case may be, you would enter that information here. People owe you money, you've got IOUs, you can enter that information here. If you had patents, mineral interests, foreign assets, personal property, and then if we've not covered something with these 18 line items, then surely you can add it in other assets under 19. So now what I've done is I've funded my real property into the trust. I've recorded those quitclaim or warranty deeds with the county recorder's office where that real estate is located. I've gone into all of my other assets, and I've gone down through each one of these line items here in the funding kit, and I've added all that information so that once I've completed that, my trust is fully funded, both with all of my assets as well as my real property. My interview is completed, so I've got all of my documents. I've got my trust, my durable powers of attorney over healthcare, finance, as well as my pour over last will and testament, advanced healthcare directives, etc. We have just completed a comprehensive estate plan using Estate Docs Pro.